The Darmody family, our end of it, were from Crowbally in County Kilkenny. I'd say my great-grandfather, I'd say. It could have been even great-great-grandfather. So that's where they came from then. And one of them happened to come to Waterford and set up, got married, I think, and married somebody from Grace Dew. And following on to that then, my father had 6 children, which I was one of them. So that's about...
Where did you come in the family?
I came 5th in the family of 6.
So you were born in Grace Dew?
No, we lived in Mount Sion Avenue.
Oh, okay. So would that be one of the little houses up there?
Yeah, one of the older houses there, yeah.
Because I live in Barrack Street.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's good.
okay, and did you... Sorry, what was your mother's name?
My mother's name was Ellen Hayes.
Hayes. And was she from Waterford?
She was, yes. She was from, I think the people came from out the country somewhere. I'm trying to think of where it is. But,
don't worry about it. And did you go to school in Waterford?
Oh, I did. I went to Mount Sion.
Okay.
I did.
And was everything in Irish in those days, or?
Well, everything was in Irish, yeah. You learned everything through Irish, even algebra.
Which is mad.
It's hard enough to learn algebra.
I know, but for young people to hear that, it's really strange for them to hear that.
Yes.
Because it wasn't a Gaelic school, it was like normal school.
Oh, yeah.
And then...
I was given an Irish name, of course. Michael Darmody, the Irish teacher, said my name was Micheál O'Diarmid. So that was my Irish name.
And then how did you end up becoming... You eventually became a plumber, was that it?
Yeah.
And how did that...
I went to the technical school in Waterford here. And from there, then I got an apprenticeship with Jacob Brothers.
And when you said you went to Tech, what age did you go there? Did you go there after...
I suppose I was about 15 maybe or something like that, John.
And like the Tech was very important for young lads to get into.
Oh, yeah,
become apprentices, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah. There was an engineering class there that I went to. And from there then, I think the Jacob Brothers were looking for an apprentice at the time. And they came there to see if there was anyone interested. So that was how we got the...
And had you heard anything about the Jacob Brothers before that?
No, I hadn't.
Okay. And had you heard anything about the Quakers before that?
Oh, yes, I knew about the Quakers.
And what had you heard as a child? What did you hear in your head? What was that?
The Huguenots came over and they were Quakers. So that was my first knowledge of the Jacob family. I knew they were Quakers. You know.
Okay. And then, can you remember your first day in work?
Oh, I can, yeah, I can. He just went off with one of the plumbers, started to do a few little jobs around the place. But eventually, after a while, then they did a lot of work around the country. A lot of Quaker families around the country.
Okay.
They did their work for them.
And before you get there, just go back a little bit. You know when you went into the Jacob's place on the quay?
Yeah.
What was it like? What did it look like?
Oh, it's a big shop with a big counter on the left-hand side as you go in. And there was a workshop at the back. The office was in the front of as you look at the front of the shop, on the left-hand side, the office was there.
And did they sell things there?
No, they didn't sell things.
So it was like a foundry or...
No, it wasn't, but they had a lot of plumbing equipment there that they just used themselves on their jobs.
Okay. And you know when you see all the showers with Jacobs on the Nordic and stuff?
Yeah.
Where were they made?
I don't know. I saw them myself. I presume they were forged here somewhere in Waterford, maybe.
Okay.
I wouldn't be too sure.
So they didn't do that?
No, they didn't do that there.
Okay. And so you went in then, and what were they like as your employers? Did you find them okay?
Oh, they were very, very good people, very nice people. You know, they looked after you well, paid you well, you know.
There was always this thing about the Quakers that their word was their, what is it? I can't remember the expression, but like, you know, whatever if they shook on it, they follow through on it.
Oh, they were very dependable that way, you know. Never had any problems with them. And they treated you very well always, you know. Very nice people to deal with.
And you know, when you started off as an apprentice plumber in 1945 or whatever, that year, what was the plumbing business like at that stage? What were you doing? What was the kind of...
There was plenty of plumbing firms around that I knew of, and they seem to have been the biggest of the lot, you know. I think at one stage they had about 10 plumbers working for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like, would be mostly things like boilers and all that?
Well, we'd be doing everything from central heating to plumbing to central heating. They were big on central heating. A lot of the away jobs were central heating jobs and all that. So we did travel around. Actually, we travelled as far as Drogheda for one of the jobs, yeah.
And it was mostly Quaker families?
Well, I wouldn't say mostly, no, but they did a lot of the Quaker families.
And can you remember any of those names of places or people you went to work around?
Not really, no. It's gone. They're gone from my memory.
Okay. And you know, in the Jacobs in in Bridge Street,
yeah,
they had the bakery.
They had a bakery there, yeah.
I believe the Jacobs, the foundry people, had done the furnace, had done the ovens and all that kind of stuff. Do you remember any of that? Or
No, I don't.
Because someone told us that they had a memory of seeing Jacob's name on the old ovens.
No, that wouldn't have anything to do with the plumbing end of it, yeah.
And then, going just around Waterford, like, what was your memory of, like, doing jobs around Waterford? Can you remember what?
Oh, I do, yes. Often when there'd be heavy frost and there'd be burst pipes all over the place. And of course there were lead pipes at that time. And all over the city, there was a big demand for plumbers. While the frost would be there, and you'd have to go off and repair all those things. That was a big job. You could even be called back from up the country to come to help out with all the burst pipes. Yeah.
That's gas. And even Waterford, just what was it like? No way people nowadays would have no idea what Waterford was like back then. I mean, what kind of memories would you have of kind of walking through Waterford at that stage? That's different now. Like, what would be?
I had very, very pleasant memories of Waterford always. You know, it was, I suppose, you go in the shops were doing very well at the time, and big business, plenty of boats coming up, there were ships and that. That all seemed to fade away after.
And what were the big shops in those days? I mean, Hearns was one, wasn't it? Hearns?
It was, yeah, Hearns. Robertson Ledley's, you might have heard of the name.
Yes.
That's where Shaw's is now.
Yes.
It used to be Robertson Ledley's Ferguson and Company. Actually, the sign is still on the thing out there.
Yeah. And they were a Waterford Belfast company, weren't they?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
And Shaw's would be Robertson, Ledley, and Ferguson. They would be doing the same kind of business as they're doing now.
The very same, yeah. The very same.
Then you'd Hearns, and they did sort of everything, didn't they? They sold all sorts of things.
Yeah, Hearns did a big business. Did all types of materials there. Actually, Jacob Brothers did a big job in there, doing the central heating and plumbing there. Yeah,
And do you remember they used to have that thing where you pull?
I do, yeah, I remember that.
What was that system called? You know, where you pull
I
it?
don't know what they call
It's
it.
called a pneumatic thing, wasn't it?
The assistants at the counter didn't deal with money.
Was that like?
So you go up, you bring your purchase over to the counter, they look at it and they make a little docket, they put it into a little container, screw it up into a little thing up on the ceiling there, pull the lever, zzz, off it goes over to a central point, like a pulpit, the middle of this. He'd look at it, open it, see that they put the change in it back down, so you get your change back down without the assistant dealing with the money, you know.
It's really funny. Isn't it?
It was funny.
And was it because they didn't trust the staff, or was it?
Not at all, I don't know. It was just the way it was done at that stage. That was the
Central-
only place
I know.
that I know of
centralised
it.
kind of-
Yeah, centralised kind of thing, yeah.
It's funny, isn't
Mm.
it? And then other shops, because I was just thinking, you know, like we say in those days, there was a lot of individual shops. You know what I mean? There was no big supermarkets or anything like that. There was all individual
That's right,
shops.
yeah.
But what other shops around the quay near where you were working? Can you remember any shops there?
No, not really, you know. I remember a few shops all right in Michael Street and that, you know. I can't really remember many names now.
And did you ever have anything to do with the ships that came in?
No, we didn't. Oh no, I remember they used to do repairs to some metal stuff they'd have in the ship, and Jacobs might go over and do a little job for them.
Okay.
You know, but that was all. I don't think they did much in that line, you know.
But it was a busy port, wasn't it? I mean,
No, it was, yeah.
ships coming in.
Ships coming in and out all the time, you know.
And then just as a young lad working there, I mean, was there a kind of a social side to that, or did you go out? What did you do at the evening time?
We just did the same as any teenagers would, just mope around and go to the cinema, of course.
Which cinema did you go to?
Well, there was it 4 or 5 cinemas were in Waterford at the time. The Regal Cinema, which was became the Forum. The Savoy was where the book centre is now. There was one in the Theatre Royal. There was a cinema. That was a cinema as well as the theatre. They used to put a screen down in front of the thing, and that kind of thing. Where was the other one then? The Coliseum was another one, down on the quay. That's where the Tower Hotel is now, down in that direction. Like. So that was our way of having fun around.
And would you have gone to dances in Waterford?
Yes, as we grew older then we used to go to the dances. Had a great time. And plenty of pubs around you could go to too, which I wasn't that much interested in.
And the dances, in your day, was it most of the Olympia, or where was the dances at that stage?
It was the Olympia mostly, yeah.
Okay.
And there used to be roller skating there, and that at one point.
Was that during Lent?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
It was a skating rink.
Okay.
So that was what they did there.
And did you do skating?
No, I didn't do any skating, no.
Okay. Because there's quite
Did plenty of dancing, though.
Were you a good dancer?
Well, I did ballroom dancing, believe it or not, at that time. Yeah, they had ballroom teachers in Waterford, 2 or 3 of them. So I learned some ballroom dancing there.
And who were the teachers at that stage, the ballroom teachers?
I can't remember the names, to be quite honest with you.
And where would the competitions be on? In the Olympia, was it?
Oh, they had I think where Breen's Hotel is there.
Okay.
I think they had a room there we used to go to for the lessons and that, and they'd have a few demonstrations there as well at the ballroom dancers.
And how did you meet your wife? Was that through dancing?
No, excuse me. I met my wife in Ballybunion in County Kerry.
So she carried woman?
She's a Tralee woman
All right.
from Blennerville, just outside Tralee. So I was working in Tralee at the time, in Benner's Hotel, and I met her as a dancer actually in Ballybunion then.
Was she impressed with your dancing?
Oh, very impressed. Of course, I was impressed with her dancing.
So she was a good dancer?
And with her herself. Okay. She was, yeah, a lovely dancer.
Okay.
So we lived in Limerick for a while then. So I returned to Waterford then, so I'm here now.
And when you met her in Tralee, were you still working for Jacobs?
No, I was working for a firm in Limerick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking...
We were doing a job in Tralee,
Okay.
in Benner's Hotel. So...
And then why did you move to Limerick to work for a plumber? Was it a better job or...?
Yeah, I think that work was scarce at times.
Okay.
So there was a job going there, and I went there. But I went then on a couple of oil refineries as well, you know. For a couple of years. I was in London for a while.
I was going to ask you that, because I mean, a lot of people at that time would have gone over to England to work.
Yeah.
So, is that what happened? You went over and then...
I went to there was no work at the time here. It was very, very bad here. So I went to London. I was there for about 18 months. I came back then. And I went to an oil refinery then in Wales. And there was one in County Cork as well that I went to. So I came back then to Waterford. I worked in Mount Congreve, directly doing the plumbing and the central heating there, in the big house.
But was that like who were you working for at that stage? Was that...
No, I was just working directly for them.
Ambrose or whatever?
Yeah, Ambrose.
Okay. So he had his own plumber?
Oh, well, no, there was three of us there.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it was 3 years I worked there.
Wow.
Doing plumbing and central heating.
Wow.
That's a huge job, you know.
Oh my God.
Something like 120 radiators or something in the house. I can't remember the exact amount now, 132 or 3 radiators. And there was a huge boiler put in there then to do the whole job, you know. It was a special type of boiler that was made in somewhere in Europe that you could use oil or solid fuel by just switching a few valves and that. That was at the time when oil was scarce. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to get oil, so he had solid fuel as well.
And what was he like to work for?
A very strict man, you know, but he gave great employment.
Oh, I know,
He did.
So he was tough going then?
Well, a lot of people thought he was anyway. I wouldn't know, but we just did our work and got on with it.
Very passionate about his flowers and his plants.
Oh, beautiful. We had free access to the gardens at the time at lunchtime. Yeah.
A lovely place to stroll around.
Oh, yeah.
And you said you were working in Cork.
Excuse me.
Was that the one that actually... remember there was one that had a really... later on there was a really bad accident under. What was that one?
Don't know that now.
Okay.
There was one in Pembroke that I
Okay.
worked in, that there was a big explosion there one time. Yeah, that you could come home every 5 weeks. You could come home. They pay your fare home back. But while I was at home, there was one of the tankers arrived, the first tanker that arrived on the job. out on this jetty. Something happened, there was a spark, and it blew up. I think there was a few people injured. I remember watching it on the telly. That's what I remember about that.
Oh, gosh. And did you stay as a plumber then all your life?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Plumbing and central heating, we did mostly, you know. A lot of central heating as well.
And what were the other plumbing firms in Waterford in those days, way back?
I can't remember, to be honest with you. If I'd been given more time, maybe I could remember them all right.
Okay, and just about the Quaker families in Waterford, do you remember, did you ever have to go up to any of the houses in Waterford doing the jobs?
Well,
The Hills or
not really, no.
the Whites?
Mr. Jacob himself lived in Tramore. And we used to go out there to that house all right to do some work for himself. But not really, no. We didn't do much jobs around for the local Quakers that I know of.
And where in Tramore were the Jacobs' house? Where was that?
You know Tivoli Terrace, as you go into Tramore, past that, between that and the hotel, there's some houses there. One of those houses, I think it was Eastlands, it's called. Okay. Eastlands, as far as I can remember. It's a nice house there. That's where they lived.
And at that time, was the railway going at that stage?
It was, yeah,
okay.
It was.
Would you have many memories?
I went out on the train there to work at times, you know, to Tramore. The early morning train. And of course we had the train then when you'd be going out for the night as well then.
For the dances?
For the dancing and that.
And I believe people used to go to for, I know you said you went into drinking, but I believe that there was a different closing time sometimes in Tramore as well as in Waterford.
Oh yes, there was. They had, I think they had some extra time already at night time. You know.
Which is funny, isn't it? Like 7 miles up the road, and there's a different closing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose for the tourists.
The dances in Tramore, the Atlantic Ballroom, on Sunday nights, they'd have 2 sessions of dances. One starting, I don't know, maybe about 8 o'clock or something, and the late one then at maybe 11 or something. So, I don't know how they used to get back home to Waterford after the late one.
And did you have a car at some point? When did you get a car yourself first?
I had a car when I was, I think, about 23 or so.
So there weren't many cars going on?
No, very few. Very few.
And what kind of car did you have first?
An old Morris Series E, I think it was. It was dangerous, actually.
Why was it dangerous?
Well, at that time, of course, there wasn't much safety measures taken, and you'd have what you might call a banger for a start. But you eventually got better as you went along.
And did you have a car for work or for family, or what did you, was it just?
Well, for work, yeah.
Okay.
In the earlier days, I'd be on a bicycle, of course, going down to Jacob Brothers when I was starting.
Yeah. But that would be normal, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah. Everyone was the same.
Which is funny because we're going to come back to that area now again. People talking about cycling again, and with the green agenda and all that kind of stuff. But so you were driving then at fairly. You're talking about 1950s.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, it would be.
Many cars, definitely.
No.
Maybe doctors and priests, maybe.
I think one of the first good car I had was a Fiat 1100. I remember. So that was a bit of a comeuppance, like, you know.
And where did you buy your car?
from the older cars. I think the first one, I think, was in O'Connell Street. There was a garage in O'Connell Street. That's where I got that one.
Okay. And then with the car, then did that mean that did you go off around Ireland at that stage?
Oh yeah, did a lot of travelling around. Did. Later on, of course, when I got married and that, we travelled all over the place. Yeah.
And how have you, like, generally people nowadays wouldn't believe, like, for example, in Waterford, like, you probably remember horses and carts being used in Waterford.
Oh, I do, yeah. I remember the railway, when they'd be delivering packages and parcels and that from the railway around town, it was a horse and cart, you know. I remember that. The bread men going round and round, horse and carts as well. This is now when I was young,
Yeah.
very young.
I know, and there was blacksmiths in Waterford.
Well, I didn't know of any blacksmith. Oh, yeah, I think there was one somewhere in Arundel Square, somewhere there was a blacksmith.
And there's a fella helping up in Thomas Street that did the harnesses and all that kind of
That's
stuff.
right, yeah, that's right.
So it's hard to believe that Waterford was like that not so long ago.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so far away.
But of course, at that time, it was Dublin, Cork, Limerick and Waterford were the four cities. Even Limerick, even Galway wasn't mentioned as one of the cities. You know, and look at the way it's changed over the years. You know, for some reason or another, we haven't been developing it all like the rest of the cities, which is terrible. It's anyone's guess why that should be.
Lots of opinions on that one. And people still say the same thing, that we're still neglected after all these years.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that, you know.
And just on that subject, because I mean, people often say that because Waterford was a very pro-British town, that De Valera didn't take too kindly to us, right? But did you feel as if, when you were growing up as a child, did you feel as if it was kind of still very much looking towards Britain as opposed to looking towards Ireland, Waterford?
No, I don't ever remember anything like that, you know.
Okay.
I didn't. My father was always very Irish, you know, all the family were. Yeah.
But we did have a kind of a merchant class, didn't we? We had there was a kind of a Protestant merchant class in Waterford.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Was, yeah. Most of the Protestants would have been looked on as business people,
Yes.
which maybe a little bit above what the normal Catholic people would have been. But then again, there was no problems that way.
No.
We never had any
But
problems.
here's another one for you. Had you ever been into a Protestant church when you were young?
No, I hadn't.
Yeah. And it's really funny because it was like a sin nearly to go into a Protestant church, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
It's really funny how times change.
It's terrible, you know, when you think about it. You know, that would be the only reason why we wouldn't go in, that we're told not to go into those places, you know.
It's funny,
Isn't it? How things change over the years.
Um,
Everything is developing now. We all get on very well together.
and did you when you were young, did you play football or hurling or anything like that, or did you interest in sport?
Only in school, in Mount Sion, we used to do a bit of hurling. The Gaelic field, as it was called it then.
Up in Welsh Park? Or
Welsh Park, yeah.
and would you have a rivalry with De La Salle and all that, or would that be
There would be, but wouldn't be anything.
not major?
No, nothing. Mount Sion were, of course, had a great hurling team at that time, you know. They did a lot of, they won a lot of Munster finals and that.
And did you play hurling yourself?
No, only as a schoolboy, yeah. That's all.
And just on that thing, did you keep up the Irish after school? Did you ever keep
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Never did. I would still have a little bit, few words here and there, but that's all. Still, it would still be in the memory what you learned, you know.
Yeah. But you didn't kind of, you know, sometimes people resent the way, you know, the brothers were and all that kind of stuff. You didn't find the Mount Sinai too bad, like, or did you?
Oh, I found Mount Sinai very good, yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Because it definitely has a mixed reputation.
No, definitely. Definitely.
And what did your family, you said there was 5 others in the family, what did they do? What kind of jobs were they in?
I had 4 sisters and 1 brother. My brother worked in the foundry. The sisters then worked in different places around, shops and that around, you know. That was good.
And what did your father do as a job? What was his job?
My father, he started off as a tailor, and the tailoring business went out of business. Then when the 50-shilling tailor came in, don't know if you heard of that before.
No, tell us, what was that?
You can get your suits off the hook.
Ah, okay.
You didn't have to go in to be measured for and wait for a tailor to make it. So there was a lot of tailors in Waterford at the time. Hearns had several tailors working for them full time.
And did your father
2 or
work
3 other ladies, yeah.
in Hearns?
I think it was Hearns he worked for, yeah. And
Because I saw a great photograph of, it's one of the pool photographs, and it shows a whole lot of men working in Hearns upstairs,
yeah,
and they're all on the ground,
that's right.
sitting on the ground sewing.
That's right, yeah. Well, that was his job. Then after that, when that business kind of faded out completely then, except for an odd tailor might have his own shop that you go to. He went into the insurance business then. So he was an insurance agent in Waterford.
Because that was a change, wasn't it? To go from sewing to insurance.
Yeah.
No, because I was just curious about how yourself and your brother ended up working in trades, you know, like working as a trade in industry, like with your hands.
Yeah.
Would that be coming from your father's influence and like telling you to go off and get a trade for yourself and all that kind of stuff?
No, I think so. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was, you know. But I think myself, I thought I'd be more mechanical than anything else, you know. That's what I wanted to do.
So
Something like that. So I'd be okay in that respect with electrical stuff and that.
And did you, what were your, I mean, you said obviously the ballroom dancing, but what other hobbies did you have when you were young?
I suppose walking, cycling,
There was a lot of cycling.
that type of thing, yeah. Oh, yeah. Going to the seaside now, we'd cycle out to Tremor or Woodstown. Dunmore would be a bit too far to cycle.
Especially coming back.
Exactly.
And did you ever do, like, I mean, did you ever go off with your bicycle for camping? Or
No, I didn't.
And what about things like cycling racing? There used to be racing in the park, weren't there?
Yeah, they used to do, there was a cycle track on the park. It's part of it still there, actually.
Yeah.
Where those seats are inside, that's going along.
Goffs,
Yeah.
track or something it's called.
But that went out of fashion then. And part of it was covered in and grassed over, you know.
And what were the walks in those days? You said you used to go walking. Where would you go?
Well, at that time we just walk around town, walk up Newtown. At that time there wouldn't have been much buildings out the Newtown Road that way.
So you get the country very fast.
And we used to walk maybe out to the Butlerstown direction out that way.
And there was a particular walk around town that people did, wasn't there? From the bottom of Patrick Street right around.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, when I was a child, shall we say, my uncle had a shop in Michael Street. Mikey Darmody. He had a shop opposite Greer's.
What did he say?
This was a tiny shop for sweets, cigarettes, chocolates, all types of stuff like that. And he used to sell rock sweets there at that time. I don't know if you heard of them or not. And people used to come for the little bag of rock sweets for a couple of pennies at that time.
And that was part of
yes, we were just talking about we used to walk then, when you'd be a teenager, we'll say. You'd meet Saturday or so, you'd walk along, we'll say, from the clock tower right down as far as the car stand, as they called it at that time, along the mall, down onto the quay, along the quay and back up to the clock tower. That was the little circle there, like.
Did they have a name on it? Was it called?
No, I never heard it called anything now, you know.
And you'd meet girls, or you'd meet...
Oh yeah, you'd be watching all the girls as you go along. You'd be hoping they might watch you as well.
But it's really interesting because, like, you see, that exists in Spain in places as well. And young people...
That's right, the Ramblas. Las Ramblas. Yeah, well, that's what it was. That was our Las Ramblas.
And people meet everybody. They hear all the gossip.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Woolworths then
Was on that.
was on that round.
That's funny. And what about smells? What smells in your memory from way back then?
No, there's nothing much that way. Nothing much that way. Not that I can remember.
Okay. Did you ever go down to work in the brewery when it was down there? With Strangman's originally, wasn't it?
I worked there all right, yeah, for a short time. For John Hearn and Company. I worked for them as well at some stage. And we were doing the work there they were putting in the big vats there, pipe work.
Was that when Guinness had it, or was that when Strangman's had it?
No, it was after Strangman's, yeah. Strangman's would have been gone long before that.
Yeah.
But I do remember talking about Strangman's. They had when there'd be a scarcity of water, and water turned off during a dry period, they had a tap with nice fresh water coming from it. And they allowed people to go down and fill
From their spring?
their containers from it. Yeah, there's a tap there, yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
remember that.
I believe it's lovely water, I don't know, but that's what I heard.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember I often got water there when I was a child.
And was the tap outside?
Well, they had it outside the gate. You could,
I don't think it's still...
whether they put it there for the people or not, I'm not too sure, but I remember going down
And I
filling.
presume that's why the brewery was there.
Yeah,
Water.
they said they had spring water there. And that's why the beer was so good.
Apparently. And then just the other big names around that time as well. Just, I mean, did you have any dealings with Whites or Grubbs or any of those people? Or?
No.
Okay.
I knew of Grubbs all right, you know, there were Quakers as well, of course.
And Hills, the salt people and...
No, I wouldn't have anything.
And what were the other bakeries? And
I remember Denny's.
Yes, the
Denny's factory. That's where the hypermarket is now.
Okay.
I remember that.
Because apparently they originally were down O'Connell Street, but they went up to the Hyper then, where the Hyper is now.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I only remember them now when we lived in Mount St. Avenue. that they were where the hypermarket is, big factory there.
There's lots of meat companies in Waterford, aren't there? Like between
Oh yeah.
abattoirs and all sorts of stuff going on. Yeah. And what about theatre and all that? Did you ever go to any of the shows in Waterford, or
Oh, I did, yeah, I
what?
did.
What was your interest
It
in?
was the Theatre Royal, of course, was the main one. We used to go to shows there. That
Or would it be like plays, or would it be like musical stuff, or what?
oh, both,
Okay.
both, mostly musicals.
And did you sing yourself?
I was in the musical society myself, Edmund Rice Musicals Society. We did some shows there in the Theatre Royal. I was in the chorus there. That's about.
And where did they rehearse then, the Edmund Rice? Up in the school?
In Mount Sion. You know,
Monastery, or?
yeah, you know where the church was in Mount Sion
Yes.
grounds there. That area there, I think it was
There's a
somewhere.
hall there.
Yeah, it was a hall, yeah.
Okay. And then they performed on the Theatre Royal?
Yeah,
Okay.
it did.
And did you ever do any of the Light Opera festivals?
Well, I was in a couple of shows, all right, years ago, but it's so long ago now I can't even remember.
Yeah. But like, Light Opera was a really big thing, wasn't it, way back?
Yeah.
People, you know, lots of the tickets were like gold rush, weren't they?
Mm.
It was huge. And do you know other industries in Waterford at that time? Do you remember the glass factory? When it started off and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember when it was up in Kilcoan.
Okay.
That's where they had their factory. Before they moved out
To Johnstown.
to Johnston, yeah.
And did you, in Kilcoan, did you ever go in there when it was working?
No, never did.
And did you ever go into the one in Johnstown?
No, I did not.
Okay. Okay. And just, did your wife work? Like outside of the house? Did she work in?
Oh, not once. When we came home to Waterford there, she just stayed as a housewife, looked after the family.
Which was normal, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but the six in the family she had to look after.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I suppose people would find it strange, the idea that, you know, when women got married, that they stopped working. It was like, that was the end of that now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And probably a lot of them glad to be out of the works scene.